Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome my students to my lesson. My pupils in the last lesson finished Unit 5 Chapter 1. Now I will study new lesson Unit 5 Chapter 2 about lesson Physical Properties of Matter. Please open your book, page 195. Physical properties. What are the physical properties? Physical properties, the characteristics of a substance that can observe it or measure it without changing the substance. This is the definition of the physical properties. Please write down on your copybook, on your book. Physical properties, the characteristics of a substance that can observe it or measure it without changing the substance. Physical properties that can be used to identify a substance. Just identify a substance. Such as mass and size can change according to how much of the substance is in an object. Other physical properties of substance never change. Physical properties can identify of a substance. Don't change of substance. These including color, smell, attraction to magnets and melting and boiling points. Observed of the physical properties use our five senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. Look at this picture, please. Mass is a physical property that can be measured. The mass of this apple is being compared to known masses on a balance. Copper is harder than galena. That is why this copper coin can scratch the galena. Question: what are the observable physical properties? Answer this question. Number 1, texture. Number 2, malleability. Number 3, ductility. Number 4, density. Number 5, buoyancy. I will talk on these properties one by one. These are observable physical properties: texture, malleability, ductility, density, buoyancy. Please write down on your book, then on your copybook. Number 1, texture. What is the texture? Texture is how the surface of a substance feels. This definition of the texture, please underline on your book, is how the surface of a substance feels. For example, the surface might be rough or smooth, waxy or powdery. Example, lizard is a rough, but egg is a smooth. Number 2, malleability. Malleability is the property of a metal that indicates that it can be bent and rolled into sheets. This definition of the malleability, please write down on your book, then on your copybook. Malleability is a property of a metal that indicates that it can be bent and rolled into sheets. 100 into thin sheets or otherwise shaped without breaking. Many metals are malleable. Example, aluminium. Aluminium are malleable. Aluminium are malleable. While copper is malleable, but glass and wood not malleable. Because glass, it would break. instead of change shape. But aluminum is very malleable, and that is why we use it to make foil to wrap our food. Look other pictures. Malleability is the ability of a substance to be hammered into sheets without breaking. Aluminium is malleable. Cans and sheets are made of aluminium. Cans made up of aluminium. Aluminium are malleable, don't breaking. Malleability metal hammered into thin sheets. Example gold. Gold malleable is a metal malleable. Gold is the most malleable metal. Inshallah, in the next lesson, I will finish about these observable physical properties. Please watch this video about observable physical properties.
Observable physical properties of matter. In this video, you are going to learn about all the different observable properties of matter, and then you are going to apply them to an object of your choice. So matter is anything that takes up space, which is also known as volume, and has mass. So your iPads are made of matter because they take up space and they have mass. Frogs, volleyballs, colored pencils, loving books, and tennis. All of these things take up space, meaning they have volume, and have mass. Now that we know that matter is anything that takes up space, meaning it has volume, and it has mass, now we need to understand what physical properties are. So physical properties is anything that can be observed or measured without changing the substance. So today, we're only going to focus on those observable properties of matter. To identify our observable physical properties of matter, we have to use our 5 senses. We're not going to use really any other special tools, just what we've got. So we're going to use our sight, especially our touch, sometimes hearing, definitely tasting, but only when it's safe and we're told we can, and our sense of smell. In your workbook, you're going to be filling out this chart of the physical properties of matter, and today we're only focusing on observable properties. Color is the first observable physical property of matter. So in your chart, please write color, and yes, spelling counts. Texture is the next observable physical property of matter. So we have like soft, fuzzy, smooth, rough. Those are examples of texture. Are there a lot more? Absolutely. You're going to add texture as an observable property of matter in your chart. Yes, spelling counts. The next observable property of matter is luster. So the easy ones are dull and shiny. We also can call that metallic. We have glassy is another word to describe luster. Pearly, and also greasy is another. And all of these are examples of luster. And when you learn about rocks, you will learn even more. Please add luster to our observable properties of matter. Shape is the next observable property of matter. Tires on our vehicles are circles. Stop signs are octagons. Tiles on the floor might be squares. They might be rectangles. Hey, they might even be hexagons. So everyday objects have a shape. Please add shape to your observable properties chart. Next is smell. So it might smell like a flower or smell clean like a lemon. Might smell like fresh baked cookies, or it might be a smell that isn't that pleasant. Add smell to our notes about observable properties of matter. Yep, spelling still counts. Taste is another observable property of matter. Might taste sweet, maybe sour, salty, or even bland. Be sure to only taste things that you have permission to, because you don't want to taste something that is actually harmful to you. You guessed it, we're going to add taste to our observable properties of matter. Hardness is another property of matter. Right now, we're going to use it as a observable property of matter. However, when you learn about rocks, you'll actually learn that hardness is a measurable property of matter. So let's talk about it as an observable property. So it might be soft, like a kitten, or soft like marshmallows, soft like frozen yogurt. Or hardness might be hard like a diamond, which is actually the hardest natural object in the world. Or hard like a hard hat. Or even hard ice cream. Now, this is hardness being a measurable property of matter. Mohs hardness scale, and we will talk about this a lot when you get to the rocks. But right now, we're going to focus on hardness as an observable property of matter. So please add hardness to our observable properties chart, and yep, spelling still counts. State of matter is our last observable property of matter. So we have solids, we have liquids, and we have gases. And look at how the particles are for the different states of matter. Solids, they're nice, perfectly aligned. Liquids, you know, they're taking up their own space, but they're not perfectly in lines, and gases are kind of all over the place. So now these are some pieces of information about states of matter. Solids are rigid, they have a fixed shape, and they have a fixed volume, meaning they take up the same amount of space. Liquids, they're not rigid. They have no fixed shape because they take the shape of whatever they're in, but they do have a fixed volume, which we'll focus on later. And gases, guess what? Not rigid, no fixed shape because they take the shape of anything they're in. And there's no fixed volume because we really can't contain them to measure it. I know this is shocking. We're adding state of matter to the observable properties of matter. Guess what? Spelling still counts.
I hope it was our useful lesson. See you next lesson. Goodbye.